अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। In this session, we'll be discussing from the 35th verse of the 5th chapter of the first canto Srimad Bhagavatam. Yadatra kriyate karma bhagavat paritoshanam jnanam yattad adhinam hi bhakti yoga samanvitam. The meaning of this verse is, whatever work is done here in this life for the satisfaction of the mission of the Lord is called Bhakti Yoga, or transcendental loving service to the Lord. And what is called knowledge becomes a concomitant factor. So this verse is explained by Srila Prabhupada very nicely in the purport. I'll directly go to the purport. From the purport we can understand what is being said in this verse by Narada. The general and popular notion is that by discharging fruitive work in terms of the directions of the scriptures, one becomes perfectly able to acquire transcendental knowledge for spiritual realization. Most people are generally inclined to work or do some activity. That is the nature of the soul, to be always active. So people think that according to the directions of the Shastra, they should perform certain types of pious activities, or those activities recommended in the scriptures for some material benefit. And that will lead to getting transcendental knowledge, spiritual knowledge for spiritual realization. Ultimately, the Shastras say we have to realize we are spirit soul. We have to realize the spiritual truth, and for that spiritual knowledge is required. And how do you get that knowledge? Of course, you can get knowledge by studying the scriptures, but to realize that knowledge, merely studying, will it help? No, that is not enough. So therefore, people think that if we do the particular activities mentioned in the scriptures for getting some material benefit, not necessarily in terms of just some gross benefits in this life, but something for the future. Could be for the future, could be for some next life, like that. So they think that we will develop this spiritual understanding by which we can actually become realized. And therefore they consider, such people, they consider Bhakti Yoga as another form of karma only. Because Bhakti Yoga involves activities, and karma means doing pious activities recommended in the scriptures. So both are same, and therefore they give a higher position to jnana or spiritual knowledge. But the real fact is that Bhakti Yoga is above both karma and jnana. This is not known to many people, and this confidential truth is revealed in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So Bhakti Yoga is independent of jnana, Bhakti Yoga is independent of karma. On the other hand, if you really study carefully karma, jnana and bhakti, then both karma and jnana are dependent on Bhakti Yoga. How are they dependent? Because whatever activities we may perform, unless those, even pious activities, unless the results of such activities are sanctioned by the Supreme Lord, one will not get the results. So one has to perform such pious activities which are recommended in the scriptures in order to please the Supreme Lord, either directly or indirectly. So the success in performing karma is dependent on pleasing the Supreme Lord. And pleasing the Supreme Lord means bhakti or Bhakti Yoga. And as regards knowledge, if somebody is cultivating spiritual knowledge, that spiritual knowledge will turn into realization only when such knowledge is employed in pleasing the Supreme Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, very clearly it is said that karma becomes karma yoga only when karma is performed as yajna. Yajnarthat karmanaha anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. If you want freedom from karma bandhana, then karma should be done as yajna. Yajna means to do some work for pleasing the Supreme Lord, which is nothing but bhakti. So karma independent of bhakti is not going to give the real result. Jnana independent of bhakti will not give the real result of realization, spiritual realization. That is also explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate. Those who are jnanavan, those who have really come to the stage of mature knowledge, they surrender to Krishna. Only then they become realized. Otherwise, any amount of knowledge, which is simply some theoretical information, remains as theory. Remains as theory. It doesn't become realized knowledge. It doesn't lead to enlightenment. So enlightenment is possible only by bhakti. And the real results of results of karma is possible only by dedicating those activities in service of the Supreme Lord. That's why Narad Muni is telling here that this Kriya Yoga, as he says here, Yaratra Kriyate Karma Bhagavat Paritoshanam. Kriya Yoga. Kriya Yoga is specifically the principle to satisfy the Supreme Lord by one's activities. Whatever activities one performs, even as duties or as one's own work in terms of one's position in the Varnashrama system, whatever work one does, even spiritual activities, what may be called pure spiritual activities, activities of self-realization, all such activities have to be done to satisfy the Supreme Lord. Because in the 5th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram suhridam sarva bhutanam. 3 principles he explains, which are very, very important to understand for ultimate peace. Jnatva mam shantim richati. What are the 3 principles? That Krishna is the supreme enjoyer of all sacrifices and penances. Ultimately, every sacrifice culminates in pleasing the Supreme Lord. Bhoktaram means he is the real enjoyer, ultimate enjoyer. Of all yajna tapasam, yajna and tapasya. And sarva loka maheshwaram, he is the supreme proprietor of all planets, all devatas, the entire creation, the entire existence. He is the Lord, he is the master, he is the proprietor. And the 3rd point is Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. He is the topmost well-wisher of every living being. Which means that if he is pleased, everyone is satisfied. You can easily understand it is very difficult to separately, individually satisfy every person. We are obligated to so many people. But if we simply satisfy Krishna, that is like watering the root of a tree. Then you are supplying water to the root of the tree is the best way to nourish all the parts of the tree. Or supplying food to the stomach. All the parts of the body are nourished. There's an arrangement. So similarly, when you please Krishna, everyone is satisfied. All the parts and parcels, because everyone is a part and parcel of Krishna. So therefore, the recommendation here is that simply do all activities for pleasing the Supreme Lord. Transcendental knowledge or spiritual knowledge or enlightenment is automatically achieved without separate endeavor. Without separate endeavor. This is explained in the Bhagavad Gita also. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. Krishna says, I give the knowledge to those who are engaged in my loving devotional service. Priti purvakam. The principle is to please Krishna. Out of love for pleasing Krishna. And how does it work? Tesham eva anukampartham aham ajnanajam tamaha nashayami atma bhavasto jnana deepena bhasuta. Because Krishna is seated in everyone's heart. So he destroys with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. All darkness is dispelled by Krishna. So therefore, that's how it works. Devotional service works. Without separate endeavor. And Krishna enlightens the devotee from within. Of this, there need be no doubt at all. I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.